What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. My name's Big Cam, and today we are talking about 2025's War of the Worlds, now streaming on Amazon Prime, and it was getting terrible reviews. And I am somebody that normally skews pretty positive. I think I've given like one other terrible review that actually the movie deserved it, you know what I mean? And that was Atlas. I don't know if it was 2023 or 2024, but J-Lo's Atlas, it was awful. And that was Netflix awful. This is Amazon Prime awful. And this is from director Rich Lee, who hasn't really done a whole lot of other stuff. He did Epoch, which I've never heard of, which is like a short, it's like 14 minutes. And then he did a Fergie, Double Dutchess, Seeing Double, a Fergie like bio documentary type of thing. And now he's working with Ice Cube, so maybe he's just like a music guy and Ice Cube was like, I want to work with him. I think the idea for this movie was decent, but the execution wasn't very good. Because the idea was like, oh, we're going to have an alien invasion like War of the Worlds normally is, and this is a famous book, and you know, a 2005 Spielberg movie with Tom Cruise that I actually grew up loving. And I hate to say it, because 20 years later, how is the 2005 version of this movie leaps and bounds better than this movie? Granted, that is Spielberg, but like, it's 2025. If you're gonna make a War of the Worlds remake, like, why not make it good? Like, it just was confusing, because the whole time it's set from, like, there isn't any like actual camera shots in this. Like, it's all like security cameras and computer cameras and FaceTime and cell phone cameras. But you know, like when you're scrolling social media and you see this super engaging clip and then somebody starts running and then it cuts off and you're like, great, I wanted to see what was going on, but then the person's camera operating skills sucked, so I just saw this blurry running away, and you hear like the, you know, stress in the person's like, you know, like, sure, that's like engaging and real and personal. But when we go to a movie, we want to see that stuff. We don't want to experience real life where it's like, oh, you know that cool shit that you could have seen? We're not going to see that. We're just going to see a brief second of it shot terribly, shaking, blurry, you know, like, it looked terrible. And then every time that the aliens came on screen, it looked even worse. And it's terrible because the tagline for this is War of the Worlds. It's worse than you think. And it's like, yeah, this movie, it's worse than you think, you know? Like, I started watching it and was like, yeah, I like Ice Cube, I'll stick around for Ice Cube, you know? And there's a couple other people in this, like Eva Longoria. I was like, okay. And then Clark Gregg, friggin' Coulson from Marvel, he's like, you know, kind of bad guy at a certain point, you know? But like, those are the three people that I recognized that I was like, oh, okay. And then like his daughter and his son are like vital roles, but he's locked in this office this entire friggin' time, you know, and it's not like suspenseful. It's just kind of like, oh, he can't leave that office. Oh, what do you say? Like, no shit, he can't leave the office because this is clearly a low budget film, and Ice Cube maybe just had access to this office building and was like, hey, I wonder if I can film an entire movie without leaving this office space. And I don't think this movie is his fault necessarily. I think he did a decent job trying to entertain us just acting behind a goddamn computer screen, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have to do any action, didn't have to do any like walking and talking or, you know, running or really any of that. I mean, there's one point he gets out of the office and he's running with the phone, and then all of a sudden he's back in the office and you're like, I thought you were leaving, you know? Like, what the fuck? And the alien design, right? Like, the original design of these things from 2005 that I loved looked phenomenal. And this new design, I mean, the actual like ship portion itself looks fine, but the legs looked pretty awful. And then like there was shots in this that like the VFX looked so bad that like they had to put stuff in front of it because the feet, you know, were clipping through the ground, and there was a couple of shots that just looked so terrible that I'm like, this is an actual movie that they put out in 2025? What the fuck are they spending money on over at Amazon Prime? I mean, I hope friggin' Ice Cube got his bag for this movie, but like, holy Christ, I was watching this, you know, struggling to get through this last night, just like, I can't believe how bad this movie is. You know, it's one of those movies, like, you're like, oh, it's been getting terrible reviews, it can't be that bad, and then you're watching it like, Yep, it's that bad. You know, like I was saying though, like there's camera footage, and it's like, oh yeah, you know all those camera shots that like cut off right before it gets good, and then they start running and it's blurry. Everything that you don't like about, you know, homemade videos, that's exactly what this movie is. It's like, hey, all that stuff that you don't like about a homemade video, that's what we're gonna give you in spades in this movie. It's like, what a terrible decision. What a terrible decision. And like a title like War of the Worlds, like this should be a friggin' phenomenal sci-fi movie. Instead, it's a 90-minute piece of crap. You know, like, I've taken turds that were better than this movie. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not somebody that's negative, you know, like I don't like to shit on a movie for no reason. You know, like I'm trying to say things I did like about it, like Ice Cube working his ass off and friggin' Clark Gregg and, you know, some of the cast members I enjoyed. But overall, this movie's a big old steaming pile of turd. And it's overall for me 1 out of 5 stars. About a 2 out of 10 is the meanest I could be to this film. 1 out of 5 stars. Definitely the worst film I've seen this year. And not necessarily like story-wise, just like this, like execution was so poorly well done. Like just not well done at all. You know, it's so poorly done. And poor Ice Cube is now gonna have this blemish on his resume. Like, hey, you've done some decent other films. Now you're gonna do this piece of shit film. Like, I think after this he needs to return with like a Friday after Friday after Friday or whatever Friday sequel they're on, and then, you know, maybe a Ride Along 3 or something like that's more mainstream, more funny, more Ice Cube, you know, like a Straight Outta Compton 2 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, poor Ice Cube's gonna need a serious pivot after doing this piece of crap. And I haven't seen him acting in some years, so maybe he took a role like this just to collect a little check and do something easy, you know? Like, maybe he's at that point in his life where he's like, you know what? I don't want to be diving over hoods of cars and acting crazy, you know? Like, I made enough money in my career. I'm still making money off of friggin' Today Is a Good Day, you know what I mean? Like, so for him, he doesn't need this. Why not take the easy roles and retire and not work so hard? You know, his younger son's trying to make it in the industry. Why not let him go act and you take a break and enjoy your life, you know? Like, there's no shame in that. But I do like Ice Cube, so I would love to see him back in like comedies and doing something good and not something shite like this. But comment below your thoughts on this film. I'd love to hear your score out of 5 or 10 stars and what you thought, and if you sat through this where you like, oh my god, I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but it was terrible. Or did you start it and you couldn't get through it? You know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on War of the Worlds, this 2025 piece of garbage. And if you haven't checked out the War of the Worlds from 2005 from Steven Spielberg and with starring Tom Cruise, check it out. Pretty damn good movie. I loved it when I was a kid and enjoyed it. You know, I especially love sci-fi stuff, and there's some shots in that film that hold up incredibly well. But that's it for me, y'all. If you made it this far in the video and you'd like to follow my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you guys so much for coming on by. If you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future movie reviews and you get the notifications when they come out. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.